So in these two videos, I want to talk about a meeting I had yesterday with a client that's just the perfect example of the people we like to work with and the problems that they came to us with. What I think is very typical for people and when you know yourself if it's time to engage a marketing agency to help. So let's talk first about website. These guys called me and said, look, we don't know how to explain this, but there's some things wrong with our website. And the things in our conversation they started to say to me are the things I hear over and over and over again that's just really perfect about when it's time to get a new website. Number one, they had a website, but they designed it more than 4 years ago, 5 years ago. We have that's another topic about the average lifespan of a website, but it was older. At the time they did it, they were happy with it, but now they look at it and it feels very generic. The design is just looks like everybody else's. So number one complaint, generic design of a website. Number two is there's stock photography all over the site. There's nothing personal about it. It's like random guy here, random guy there, and there's a certain feel. And by stock photography, I mean photos you purchase online. There's a lot of different resources, whatever, but it's not your own staff. It's not you. It's just someone that kind of captures your business. They're fine, but they're not personal. Number three, they didn't have any testimonials or social proof on their site. There's nothing, I mean, they're a service-based industry, and really for any business, having social proof, you can say what you want to, but if you don't have it on the site where somewhere you've got that validation that from customers and whoever you've helped, they had none of that on there. It's really important to their business, totally missing. Number four, the text, the other design agents that did it way back in the day just kind of put a bunch of stuff on there that's clearly for SEO, search engine optimization, just words on there to try and get Google and search engines to notice them. Very bad for user experience. You look at this thing, it's like, is this a real website? And it just doesn't feel personal at all. So they didn't like that at all. Lacks authority. They just felt like they look like everybody else. They want to be a leader in their industry. We all do, right? And they feel like their company has grown to the point where like they are a leader in their industry and they're on their way. Well, the website should reflect that too, and there was nothing of that. It just felt like we're just another guy. Lacks detail. Their pages, oftentimes when you build a website or you have someone do it for you, just we'll fill that in later, we'll do that later, and you never get around to it. So they had pages about their services that just had a line of text or two, again, that stock photography, no detail at all, and just really not providing any value to the person visiting the site. I'm not saying you have to write books and books on this particular service, but it wasn't, if people were coming to the site, it wasn't answering their questions at all. So lack detail on there's different services and about them and all that kind of stuff. Minimal SEO. I could just tell, we can run some tests. There's nothing on this site. There was no presence of a blog, nothing that's over time helping this site grow to be to show up more on search engines. And that was, there was some aspects missing from the site that would allow it to grow, like the presence of a blog is real important. And then another thing that came up in our meeting was that they didn't have a section for their staff at all. They really wanted to, showcase their people. They're a business that really focused on the individuals, and that wasn't present at all. So a lot of opportunity, a lot of things missing. Some of them in the way it was built, some of it just being dated. It was mobile responsive. That's something that comes up. If the site's really old and it isn't mobile, that's a huge no-no. You almost have no choice. But some of these softer things where it's like more of a feeling or whatever are the kinds of things that lead people to us say, I think I need a new website. And I'm hesitant to tell people they need a new website unless they really do. When you start stacking these things, if it's maybe one or two, you might be able to fix the site you have. But if you start stacking all the things together, then it might be time for a new website. So if any of these things sound familiar to you, it's probably time to think about redesigning. And especially if you're the thing about becoming an authority and providing value to the people visiting your site, that's a real good reason to update your site. So that's it. There's some common complaints we hear about needing a new website.